Good morning. Welcome to Story Time with Joyce. And last week we read in chapter 15, Arvin's hen house, and we learned that Arvin had been laid off from his job along with a lot of other young men, and they were all getting together and talking about what they could do next. And Arvin came up with the idea that he would like to get into the business of prostitution. And meantime, Serena, Betty's best friend, had come over and they're having tea and they're catching up. So let's see what's going on here. Betty and Serena continued their conversation and enjoying their tea while Arvin was out making deals. One of the guys from the factory gave Arvin a heads up on a lady who was running a house of prostitution and wanted to get out of the business. Arvin didn't waste any time in checking it out. He hopped on a trolley and was off on another journey toward his city dreams. He was tingling with excitement as he walked up the stairs of the typical Chicago-style two-story building. His excitement got the best of him, and he started knocking on the door a bit too hard. He realized that when he heard a voice yell, "Stop banging on the door! I hear you, I'm coming." As soon as the door opened, Arvin started talking. "I understand that you're getting out of the business. Is that true?" The woman who opened the door said, "My, you're direct, aren't you? First of all, who are you, and how do you know what you know?" Arvin realized his inappropriateness and replied, slightly embarrassed, "I'm sorry, ma'am. My name is Arvin Jameson. One of the guys that I worked with at the garment factory frequents your establishment. He told me he overheard a conversation that indicated you wanted to get out of the biz. He knew I was trying to figure out how to get into the prostitution business. Why? I'm getting out because of the mob's involvement in prostitution and their intimidating way of demanding a percentage of what the girls make. You have to be part of the in-group, the mob. Even then, they are killing their own, fighting for their territories. It has become too much for me. So again, I ask you why? May I come in and continue our talk inside? I feel a bit awkward standing on the doorway here talking about this." The lady opened the door and motioned to him to follow her. They entered a side room and the lady motioned for him to sit on one of the two chairs. Arvin continued with the conversation. "I just got laid off and don't mind taking risks. My wife and I have been bootlegging for several years and have done good with it. We brew for a lot of high officials and cops. So I'm thinking this here prohibition isn't going to last forever, so I need and want something else to make money and give me a little excitement as well. Can we talk about this?" "Hey, slow down. You didn't even ask my name. How do you know I'm the owner? I could be a plant by vice. Gotta be more careful if you want to get into this business. I know your name is Lori. The guy told me about you. And he told me your name. Sorry I called you ma'am. I should have taken the time to get proper introductions instead of barging right into my talk. I'm just so excited." "Okay, Arvin, let's talk business and see if you have what it takes to run a place like mine. I also want to get to know you better." Arvin and Lori came to an agreement. Lori had been paying the rent and running the business. She was burned out. She didn't want to deal with the men and live in fear of the mob. Arvin would manage the girls and collect the money. Lori would live rent-free. The average clerk in Chicago earned $6.67 a week. The prostitutes could earn $30 to $50 a week. Arvin just knew he made the right deal. Now to deal with Betty. Arvin planned out what he was going to tell Betty. He had to lie to her. He had never lied to her before, but he knew he couldn't tell her about this prostitution business. Bootlegging was one thing, but running a whorehouse was another. All the way home, he practiced what he was going to say to her. The trolley stopped and he got off. Now it was time to see how well he had practiced, because he was now home. "Betty, we got us some good luck. I go back to work a couple hours a week, a short week," Arvin explained excitedly. "How did that happen?" Betty asked. "Went to get my pay and the boss asked me. Guess they have some small orders coming in. He felt his face getting flushed from lying and feared Betty would figure it out. Just a couple of us, Arvin replied. He was relieved when Betty didn't catch on to his lie. I'm so glad, since it's getting hard to get what we need to brew as well as other food supplies. They are starting to ration things, and I understand things are going to get worse. At least we have a little luck with you getting some of your job back. We were starting to get ahead, thinking of getting a bigger place, and now that doesn't seem possible. Ruth and Carol are getting too old to be sleeping in the parlor. Betty continued talking. However, she stopped when she realized Arvin wasn't listening and was walking away. Where are you going? Arvin answered as he was walking toward the door. Going to meet the guys to see if there's any more of them that got their job back for short hours. With that, Arvin left Betty and just couldn't wait to get back to his new business. He felt a little guilty for lying to Betty, but quickly got past it when he got to Laurie's. Mr. Jameson, back so soon? Here to check out your merchandise? Laurie asked. I thought I'd complete our deal. Had to leave earlier to take care of some business. Never thought about checking out the merch. Not a bad idea, though. And call me Arvin. Laurie said, smiling, come on in. I'll show you around the whole place this time, Arvin. Laurie's place was built in the early 1900s. It was Chicago's version of the New York brownstone. The limestone facade was harvested primarily from quarries around a city in Indiana and was built as a 2-story multifamily building. Laurie lived on the second floor, sharing it with one other woman, and the business was held on the first floor, which housed a kitchen, dining room, parlor, 2 bedrooms, and a bathroom. The dining room and parlor had been turned into boudoirs. Laurie's place was the same layout, with the dining room and parlor intact. Solid oak wood covered all the floors with lush floor rugs strewn around. The rugs kept the warmth in and the noise out. Come meet the girls, Laurie said. As they entered the kitchen, they came upon a girl sitting at a table drinking a cup of coffee. Laurie approached her and said, Nellie, meet Mr. Jameson. He's your new boss. Hi, Nellie, Arvin responded. Nellie moved to Chicago from Tennessee and has been with me for several months, Laurie said. Nellie said, howdy. Nellie was a big girl, about 5'8", dusty blonde hair, and very curvaceous. Her southern charm won over even the shyest of men. Laurie, when did you decide to get out of the biz? Nellie asked. I've been thinking about it for a while now, just didn't know how to get out and still make a living. Mr. Jameson and I worked out a deal. I'll be living upstairs, but Mr. Jameson will be conducting the business with you girls. Well, Mr. Jameson, welcome to our hen house, Nellie said. Thanks, looking forward to collecting the eggs, Arvin said with a chuckle. Arvin went on to meet Lillian, a French woman who was petite in stature, long black hair and blue eyes that looked like marbles. Dolly, who was a feisty Italian, also on the petite side with long brown wavy hair and green eyes. Ginger, who was an Irish gal, porcelain skin, full-figured and curvy. And last but not least, Ruby, a robust girl who was from a farm in Indiana. Laurie and Arvin went over how he needed to book the girls. The procedure was easy enough. Clients never gave their right name, and all paid in cash. Someone comes around to collect protection money once a week, and that was something that Arvin knew he needed to work out. Until then, he would just enjoy his new enterprise. Arvin bid everyone goodbye and headed home. Well, thanks again for joining me with Story Time. And you can go and you can buy Betty or Ruth. And my newest book actually comes out today, named Carol. And it's the 3 books in the series called Big City Dream. So you can go to JoyceBennett-Hall.com. You can click on the books section of my website, and all my books are there. So if you'd like to buy Betty, Ruth, or Carol, just click on the button next to the book, and it takes you right to Amazon. And I sure would appreciate it if you would support me in my books. And thank you again for joining me. Have a great week, and see you next week. Bye.